Adamson's deck is fancy. I'll let you start off with Sharfman's deck.
Sharfman's deck, if you weren't with us for our feature match last round, Sharfman's deck is Delver. It's with a large focus. The only equipment, Rune Chanter's Pike. He plays a full 3 of them. 1 Growth, 3 Gut Shots, 4 Thought Scours. Really trying to make those as good as possible. Full set of Snapcasters. The list, kind of what you said, was, I think, the list you'd be playing if you were playing Delver.
Right. So, Ariel Adamson's deck, the creatures are a Singleton Mentor of the Meek, 2 Hex Parasites, and 3 Doom Travelers. That's the
Hex
creature.
Parasite.
He has 4 Intangible Virtues, 4 Lingering Souls, 4 Gathers, 3 Shrine of Loyal Legions, 2 Mortapods, a Dismember, some Tragic Slips, some Altar's Reaps. That's a black and a colorless, additional cost.
Right.
Sack a creature, draw 2. A Batter Skull, a White Zenith, and 2 Angelic Destinies. So definitely a token deck. Certainly a dedicated. Yeah, definitely a dedicated token deck, but certainly non-traditional in its configuration.
So Hex Parasite, not many counters at all in David's deck. What it does, I remember, probably not a play you'd make against a Delver deck. Hex Parasite does allow you to hurt yourself for free, which not normally you do when you play something like Gather the Townsfolk.
Right.
Or originally people were trying that with cards like Thraben Doomsayer. It does let you essentially Fateful Hour yourself at will.
Yeah, I know that was popular when, I forget who it was. I want to say Anthony Eason, but possibly someone else was battling with the 1 black 13/13 with -1/-1
with Death Shadow.
Yeah. There was some decks built around that and Fling and whatever else for a little bit.
Sharfman, the iconic opening, turn 1 Delver. Really one of the scarier openings of the format.
Yeah.
Sometimes completely inconspicuous though. Ariel Adamson, no play.
And the Mana Leak.
All right. So long as Sharfman has the second land, just a very terrifying start.
He's gonna assume Ponder here. Yep.
All right. So giving Ariel Adamson, how much removal is in Adamson's deck?
He has a Dismember, 3 Tragic Slips, which I guess we can comfortably assume he does not have in his hand.
Yep.
And 2 Mortapods.
So really, the scary thing here, he has no way to interact with this Delver, because all those removal spells, if they were in his opener, we probably would have seen. Turn 1 Delver flip could possibly deal 12 or 15 damage here. So out of Adamson's deck, he's probably going to have a turn 2 play.
Yeah,
he's
a lot of
have
twos.
Something that can raise the Delver, which is a very tall order.
There's a Shrine.
Shrine, an excellent card, especially against control decks. Against this kind of start, probably far too slow.
Yep.
Adamson does have a Batter Skull if his life points get really low. It's one way for him to pull out of it. Granted, that has to resolve, and we already know Sharfman has a Mana Leak.
Right. He also, Adamson also has 3 copies of Sorin and an Elspeth as his Planeswalker, so none of these cards especially good against a Delver flipped on the first turn with Mana Leak. Although Sharfman failed to make his 3rd land drop, so
it's possible. Do you think Sharfman pondered for a 2nd land? They kept a 1-land Delver Ponder hand?
It's possible.
Lingering Souls. All right, that answers the Delver.
Yep.
And it bumps
That's
up.
going to get hit with a leak, I assume.
And it did. Sharfman really all in on this Delver, but if Sharfman has no more plays, Adamson's going to be able to possibly get back into this game. And this time, Sharfman's content going to let him resolve the Lingering Souls for a 2nd time.
I think there was a slight hesitation there because Sharfman actually can't be 100% sure that Adamson does not have Day of Judgment in their deck. Like all the cards he's played so far could still lead into.
Could be a Day of Judgment deck.
Right.
As it is, what he's probably most worried about is something like Flashback Souls, Gather the Townsfolk. Would be a really strong play here.
Yeah, I mean, Sharfman can't. He probably obviously he has some idea what's going on here, but he can't be 100% confident he knows exactly what's going on with Adamson's list.
And it's a Shimmering Grotto, right?
Yep.
Flashback Souls. It's going to resolve.
Shrine goes up to
Counter.
4.
So Shrine is one of those interesting cards. It's really mana intensive. So what often is in these decks is you don't end up cracking it until it's on something like 11 or really, and then they gather the townsfolk. That's kind of as called. That's really not what Sharfman wanted to see happen there.
Right, the board's getting a little clogged down, and
Well, I mean, if Sharfman swings, Adamson now has the option of trading everything, which, I mean, Sharfman can't let him do.
right.
So possibly he has a Vapor Snag or a
Gut shot. Yeah, he's got definitely some cards that can
or mutagenic growth. So he has plenty of things that do something
muddle up
here.
combat here, yeah.
Even a Dungeon Geist would be very good.
Yep.
Alright, so now see what trick he'll pull out to try to punch through this board. Sharfman has to keep the pressure on. If he doesn't have a good attack, this is like that moment where suddenly Delver can actually really fall behind. Swinging both, making an Angel token. If he can save one, do you save the Geist or do you save the Delver?
I think I probably just block 2 and 2 here because you have
I mean, if you have the Vapor Snag in your Sharfman, which one do you save?
I believe I probably save the Insect because Shrine can just blank Geist of St. Traft.
And he agrees.
Yeah. He also could have a second Geist, which is another reason to just let that trade off.
Right. Yeah, with Shrine on the table, Geist can't actually go the rest of the distance. So Adamson drops to 7. The Mana Leak, play another land, and yes, he has another Geist, which is excellent. Adamson will probably be forced to crack the Shrine. Adamson drawing the Dismember of very scary card. He can't really cast it right now.
Right. Well, that's actually not. I mean, it's sort of. Oh, he's just conceding.
Yeah. Well, he can't really cast it because then the Angel token off the Geist kills him.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. I was like, that seemed like a preemptive scoop, but I forgot Geist was going to make a 4/4 flyer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he has Shrine to muddy up the ground, but.
Yeah, he can't really dismember the 4/4 flyer. It doesn't. So, yeah. Closer matchup than originally, off the great start of Sharfman. Adamson kept it interesting there, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was, and I think that if he has one of his tragic slips on turn 1 there, he's going to very comfortably win that game.
Yes.
As Delver actually just went the distance.
A player event. You will now report your results to the side event stage.
Right, to the sideboard. Adamson's deck, lots of 1s, lots of 2s. Let's see, what does he have in the board?
Well, he has 3 copies of Gut Shot, a Dismember, 4 Timely Reinforcements, and all Day of Judgments, all of which could be cards that are potentially on the table for him here. I'm not sure exactly what he would want to cut to make
Gut Shot's the only thing I really want right here, but I'm not even sure. Remember, Unflipped Delver and Snapcaster Mage are the only targets for Gut Shot in Sharfman's deck.
Right, but Adamson's deck is so good at muddying up the ground. He
needs to take care of the air.
Yeah, the flyer is the big question mark if his deck's able to handle it or not, because White Shrine Shrine of Loyal Legions does a ton to just lock up the ground. You can't attack for the rest of the game basically. So
what Shrine of Loyal Legions lets him do is that on turn 2, if he can find time to play it, which is actually a very big if. But once he finds time to play it, he can just play an attrition game with Sharfman. Remember that Delver can't go forever.
Right.
If people's life totals started at 40, Delver would be a very bad deck.
yes,
So
this is a big difference from Cobblade, where
Cobblade, if you were at 40, that's fine.
You would never lose.
So Delver's very different in that sense. So Shrine lets him become the control deck.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know how much of the board I really like in here. The Gut Shot maybe, but that's about it. I think a lot of the cards in this deck really should be kept as is.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I like Altar's Reap. I don't think you have time for it.
Right. It is awfully slow. White Zenith also probably suffers from the same problem.
Yeah. If there's a game where you can cast a Zenith for 3 and have it resolve, you probably have already won that game.
Yeah.
So he does have cards to side out. Siding in, I don't really like Angelic Destiny here because of Vapor Snag. Maybe just things like, I think the Gut Shots, maybe Timely Reinforcements, but probably not.
And a big angle that Adamson has access to here is 3 copies of Vault of the Archangel. It's actually very realistic for him to race Delver if he can just break a Shrine up for a bunch and have that land in play. It's going to be very challenging for...
Well, what we'd said before, I said if he started at 40, Delver really can't win. Well, the Archangel goes a long way toward kind of making that a true statement.
Right. So, unlike a lot of the other decks that we've seen that sort of have one vault sort of incidentally, in Adamson's deck, it's definitely a primary feature of what's going on.
Right.
If you are interested in playing in the Modern Challenge, come up to the public event stage and see Sam.
So,
he will help you
I think
out.
in the end, I would have liked to see Ariel's deck. I love a lot of the 1-ofs. I think I'd like to see a little more focus out of it in the sense of there's a lot of draws. So dangers of playing decks with lots of 1/0s. They're really good when you draw the right ones, but the problem is sometimes you can see starts here, 4 lands, a Mentor of the Meek, a Angelic Destiny, an Altar's Reap.
Right.
There's lots of, sometimes you get a lot, he's going to have a lot going for him in his opening hand. There's a lot of combinations which really don't resemble hands that you can play.
Right. There's a difference with 1/0s that are like some amount of cross-sectioning. Like 1 Dismember, when you have other removal spells, makes some sense to me.
That's fine.
Yeah, but 1 Mentor of the Meek, when it's just sort of this isolated 1 Mentor of the Meek, and it doesn't really line up with anything else.
Sometimes when I like to think about it, so in deck building, when I like to think about it is, some people say, well, why do you have, 1 Dismember, 2 O-Ring, and a Tragic Slip? I'm like, well, what I really wanted was, I wanted something like 4x removal spell. And then I thought to myself, okay, what do I want in 4x removal spell? I don't want 4 O-Ring because I have to kill a Delver. I don't want 4 Tragic Slip because I have to kill a Sword of War and Peace. Like, okay, and then that's when you start getting these weird numbers. But when things like, sell me on 1 Mentor of the Meek, for example. That's harder.
Right. I agree. And, a lot of it is also like what card advantage / search effects your deck has. Like, we see a lot of singletons in the Delver lists, and that makes a lot of sense to me because when you have Ponder, you're seeing more cards. When we have Snapcaster Mage, you get to rebuy the spell when it's good because it's in your graveyard because you've already cast it once for value.
But you don't want too many of it because, especially these niche spells in multiples, are very bad usually.
Right.
Steal, Sabotage, you don't want 3 of them,
Yeah, but 1 can do a lot.
1's excellent.
And often when 1's excellent, you get to cast it a second time because you have Snapcaster Mage.
Right.
In decks that don't have that same level of surging card advantage,
Standard
I'm much more
number 8,
suspicious
your
of sort of
event is
non-congruous
ready.
1/0s.
Once again,
Right.
Standard Wheel Box number 8. Your event is ready.
Like exactly the
From
reason you said. 1 Dismember, 2 Tragic Slip, 1 Oblivion Ring. Let's
No
say
problem.
I buy that as being like, well, I want those removal slots. I need to catch all these different things. That's
Yeah.
fine. That I get. But like a singleton Batterskull, for example, in a deck with no other real equipment theme, I'm more inclined to raise an eyebrow at.
And both players are
All right.
keeping.
Yep.
And Adamson leads off on Doomed Traveler. Doomed Traveler, Sharfman responds with his own 1-drop, and that will
Yes!
gut shot it faster.
Yep. Could not wait to gut shot that thing.
Such a strong play against Delver. Sometimes their keeps really are. Remember, Delver's Delver is a 16 creature deck. There's a non-zero chance that Sharfman has no other creatures in his opener.
He was just spinning his wheels with cantrips and stuff like that for a long time, getting you time to get
if you
set
had
up.
an opener hand of Delver, 2 mana leaks, and 2 mana leaks, a Vapor Snag, and 3 lands, you probably keep it. And
Yes.
as it is, he has the Invisible Stalker. When I talk to a lot of pilots of Delver, Invisible Stalker is one of the cards I get the most divergent opinions on.
Yep.
A lot of people really like it. It is so good at holding equipment, and it is a blank a lot of time when it is not holding equipment.
Right. It is definitely a swingy card, but certainly the mirror matches that thing plus equipment is just no one can get out from under it, and
Right.
a bunch of the other decks like zombies, if they don't have an edict, it definitely gives you a cheat in a lot of scenarios where you don't otherwise really have a good way to win the game.
We said Delver has a lot of trouble winning from behind. I think Invisible Stalker is one of the few ways it actually can.
Right. This game off to a much better start for Adamson.
Yeah, he's really stopped Sharfman from gaining that early control of the board that Sharfman's really looking for. Swing for 1, so Adamson has a swing back for 3.
Adamson gives him a little thumbs up when he's attacking with his Invisible Stalker for 1.
All right,
man, you got it.
It's that he does have an Anthem in his hand. He may wait on it until it's Mana Lake proof.
Right.
This turn he can just flashback Lingering Souls this turn off the Shimmering Grotto. I think that's the play I like.
Right.
Waiting, contemplating, there could be a Snapcaster waiting. That's probably fine. Swings in for 3. Just says go.
I guess his hand's pretty land heavy.
Well, does he have any... but he could flashback Lingering Souls there.
Yeah, but he might not want to play anything into a leak if his hand's like that
If his hand is all lands, he needs to make every spell count.
Right. Also, it's not like Sharfman's really putting him under the gun.
That's true. On the current board, I suppose Adamson's fine with the status quo. And he has White Zenith for 1. White Sun Zenith for 1, which I actually like that play.
Yeah, it is fine.
It's a 2/2 flash for 4.
It's like, you might not get another shot to leak this thing. You might not get another shot to leak, so. Also, leaking means that you can't use your Moreland Haunt.
Sometimes when you have a card like White Sun Zenith, you just don't want to cast it on 4. You know, this is a 2/2 flash for 4. I don't even put that in my draft deck. But
right. This is a good spot for it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Moreland Haunt, yep. It's going to get a mana leak.
Sharfman has to keep this race close so that he can kind of steal it at the end with some sequence of snags and things. But
he also might not get another shot to leak. That might be the bigger problem with.
So now Adamson can make, I think he has an intangible virtue. And if he does, he has now the potential to make that through mana leak, which I really like if he has. Instead he's going to make a black, he's going to land Sorin.
There's Sorin. And that's he's going to hit with a negate.
Alright, so both plays don't get around it. Intangible virtue as well. I believe that's his last card. I'm not positive though. So Adamson at 15. I believe Sharfman's at 12. Yes, okay.
Yeah. Just says go.
Yep, Sharfman with the haunt. No creatures in the yard though. You know, and this is, you know, the critics here of Invisible Stalker probably would point to this game right now.
Gonna get a flashback here.
And try for it. See if it resolves though.
We got a Snapcaster, another leak.
Snapcaster would be a very strong play out of Sharpman. And
there he is.
Yeah, I don't even know if I played that into an empty board just for this reason. Probably do it into the leak or the negate. He's going to opt for the leak, it looks like. Gather the townsfolk. Just more tokens. Sharfman's going to need... He's playing 3 Runechanter's Pikes. I think his path to victory is...
Yeah, he's got to get one of them real soon.
Like here.
Even a Dungeon Geist, I think, will give him a reasonable chance of racing from this position.
Right. And he does play 2 Dungeon Geists in the main. Probably not boarding in Dungeon Geists against the tokens deck.
Two-headed giant, round 2 pairings are being posted. Two-headed giant, round 2 pairings are being posted. $10 draft, 21. Come on up to the side of it stage. $10 draft, 21.
Alright, so Ponder.
Yep.
Look at top 3.
I don't know if I've ever seen Sharfman shuffle a Ponder.
Top of his deck's always really good. Alright, still just for 1. Invisible Stalker beats.
Players, your round 1 pairings are posted on the G3
We got a Dungeon
and the
Geist.
Dungeon Geist probably hits the Doom Traveler.
Yeah, it's might as well. And a Delver.
The only argument for the other way is if Adamson draws an intangible virtue.
Ooh, Vault of the Archangel.
And with the Grotto, that's huge.
Draw.
Wow.
This race just got a little ugly for Sharfman.
I don't see any good blocks for Sharfman here. This race.
I mean, he has to put his. Everything's ugly. He's put those guys in front of the soldiers. Yeah, this makes this makes the most sense, but
makes the most sense. But I don't.
This is
very hard to win race. Adamson moves up to 18, Sharfman down to 7.
Report to the side event stage.
He's going to need some help. He's going to need something like Gut Shot, Snapcaster, Gut Shot. He's actually going to have to clear the board.
Well, he has Moreland Haunt. He can sort of whittle down that way.
That's true. It's actually possible that he can just kill all of Adamson's things. That's an Altar's Reap for... That's such a strong...
Whoa, that is an awesome draw.
That is an awesome card right now. Wow, that's very strong. And in response, he's going to go ahead and just... Ooh, no, you don't want to do that token. You want to do the Doom Traveler. Yeah, I think he missed the play on that.
Jeff Eldridge.
Well, just deals the 1. But yeah, that was huge.
Although I think he just ripped Timely Reinforcement, so it actually arguably ends up better for him here.
Well, he knew he was drawing
time. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Reinforcement is way better.
Excellent play. Sharfman and
Oh.
Mana Leak. All our plans were. Land from hand says go. So now I actually think, okay, the Alter Sweep play still comes back to me. I think Sharfman wins the race now.
Right.
You know, he trades
Adamson
with
still
that
has.
token.
Adamson, if he's brought in a timely reinforcement, that means he's still got 3 more copies in his deck.
Swings for 6, puts Adamson down to 8. Sometimes you forget when you have a card under a removal spell like Dungeon Geist that Dungeon Geist is not Oblivion Ring. Your creature's actually still there.
If that's a spirit, you want to hold that guy back on D, right? Because it just holds off the Dungeon Geist?
Well, the problem is if you go with that line, Delver's going to get you. Delver plus...
He doesn't... He has no...
I mean, it's Stalker. Stalker, and then the fly... He'll just keep making more on haunt tokens. And he'll trade the... He'll just swing the Stalker and 2 haunt tokens. And actually at 9 life, that's still very relevant. I think... It's hard to say. I still think I actually like the swing there. Yeah, the biggest issue is that Moorland Haunt... Yeah, Sharfman only doesn't have very far to go to actually get him down from 9.
Yeah. I just drew another Dungeon Geist, so yeah, you're definitely attacking would have been a lot better.
And the land says go.
Daddy needs a timely reinforcements. Pronto.
It needs to be timely. And of
Wilds.
Wilds. David Sharfman wins 2 games to 0. With the second Geist draw, does Altar's Reap get there then, do we think?
Well, I don't know. If he gets to... The thing is...
He gets to kill one of Sharfman's spirits. He'll end up with 2 spirits instead.
The thing about that sequence is, like, because Altar's Reap is